Hello teachers, and welcome to the second video of my new series, the ELT Glossary. I'm Mary, and for this video I gathered other 5 brilliant English teachers from different parts of the world so they can talk about some ELT terms. So this project is just like a human dictionary, and the idea is to help people that are studying a TEFL, CELTA, Trinity TESOL, Deep TESOL, Delta, or a Master's. Well, even if you're not taking any formal qualification at the moment, I would recommend you to stick around, because these guys are superstars and they do have loads of interesting things to say. Don't forget to check their YouTube channel, Instagram account, conversation clubs. I'm going to put all the links in the description below. And if you are a qualified English teacher and you want to be in the next video, just hit me up. Now get prepared because they are coming.
If you are looking for a way to get your students more engaged and speaking more, then look no further than guided discovery. Guided discovery is a teaching method where students communicate with one another and use their previous knowledge to help them deduce different grammar rules and understand new vocabulary. Instead of the teacher being the one with all of the answers, the students are given responsibility, and in turn, they are able to remember new concepts and constructions even better. The way it works is that the teacher will find different materials which place different grammar points or vocabulary in a context that's interesting for the students. Then students will work together and collaborate to uncover the different rules, standards, and exceptions of these different grammar points or vocabulary words while being monitored by the teacher. An example of a guided discovery activity would be giving your students a short story with different comparative forms. You're going to set a task which will help guide them towards discovering that the construction as plus adjective plus as means that something is the same, whereas the comparative form and than means that there's a difference. Now, just because your students are taking a larger role in the lesson doesn't mean you get to just kick back and relax. If you do this, your classroom is going to be very chaotic. Instead, what you should be doing is constantly checking their understanding and guiding them on the path towards the correct answers. In my classroom, I love using guided discovery tasks to change up the student-teacher dynamic and challenge my students. Do you think you'll give guided discovery a try?
Hi guys, so let's talk about Realia. What is it? Very simply, for us as English language teachers, Realia refers to objects taken from real life that we use in the classroom to illustrate and teach vocabulary or to facilitate language acquisition and production. Realia is such a powerful tool for language learners because it provides them with a multi-sensory experience through seeing, hearing, touching and handling objects. The use of real objects in the classroom makes the entire learning experience fun, interactive and much more memorable for the student, regardless of age or what their level of ability is. You're creating an emotional experience for your students, as a result of which they are more likely to recall concepts presented through the use of Realia because they will remember the context in which they learnt it. If you're just getting into language teaching, start creating your own collection of objects. It will be time consuming at first as you look for and find things that you can use, but it's well worth it in the long run. So what are examples of some Realia? Realia can be whatever is already in your classroom, but it can also be items that you have brought into the classroom, such as newspapers, magazines, souvenirs or maps. Basically anything that illustrates the real world and fits into the concept you are teaching. Realia doesn't have to be restricted to things that you bring into the classroom. Encourage your students to bring items with them and use them in classroom activities. Since the start of the global pandemic, we have moved more and more into an online classroom, and this brings in the concept of virtual Realia. You can still use the same materials as in the real world classroom, but you may want to scan or photograph the objects and share those files with your students. Depending on your technical abilities, you can zoom into a portion of an item and get your students to guess what it might be. You can send your students away to find something in their own house, time them and make it a race. Realia is a powerful tool for teachers and students. It reinforces language skills and appeals to both visual and kinesthetic learners. It will make your lessons more dynamic, and it is really helpful if you're teaching students whose native language you do not speak. Thank you for watching.
So what is the affective filter? The term affective filter originates from Stephen Krashen, an expert in the field of linguistics, who described it as a number of affective variables that contribute the second language acquisition. In other words, he says that if a student is feeling very anxious, nervous, demotivated, or with no self-confidence feeling, he cannot learn. So that's why we have to make sure that our lessons help lower the affective filter. If the student feels comfortable with us, they will learn more and talk more. If they feel bad, this feeling will definitely block their learning. It's the case when we hate a teacher and end up hating the subject as well. Why is the affective filter important in the classroom? It's not enough to simply teach, it's not enough to deliver instructions only, but creating classroom environment that act intentionally to lower the affective filter will increase language development. Let's picture two classrooms. In the first classroom, students walk in and sit in isolated rows. They do not collaborate with each other. The teacher reads from a scripted lesson before assigning a worksheet for students to complete independently. They are not allowed to talk much. It's clear that classroom type 1 is a typical teacher-centered classroom. In the second classroom, students have a voice in instruction. They're part of their learning journey, create motivation to learn. They collaborate in groups and share their ideas, and they are encouraged to take risks, which helps to build their self-confidence this way. The classroom talk is balanced with some teacher talk and some students talk, so the students feel comfortable themselves sharing their ideas and opinions. And that's why there are three categories that Krashen proposed: motivation, self-confidence, and anxiety. Well, and at the end, I would love to say that we need to remember that a safe classroom is one in which students are not afraid to make mistakes.
Do you understand is possibly the worst question you can ask in your classroom. Why is that? Because learners will always say, "Yes, teacher, I understand," even if they have no idea. So it's better to use concept check questions, where you can dive into the student's understanding and help them to bring their understanding even deeper. There are lots of different types of concept check questions, but let's focus on two types. When you're asking about when and when you're asking about who. So for example, talking about present perfect, you can ask, when did this action happen? Is it finished or is it still happening? Did it just happen? Is it a long action or a short action? So example sentences: I've cut my finger. When did it happen? Just now. Does it still hurt? Yes. If you've got past continuous and past simple together, which action is longer? I was playing tennis when I fell. Which is the longer action? I was playing. Short action, I fell. Other type of concept check question about who, especially for passive voice. Who did the action? The house was built in 1965. Who built it? I don't know. Doesn't matter. And when you have sentences with two objects, like I gave Tom a present. What did Tom get? A present. Who bought the present? I did. So these are two ways to use concept check questions in your lessons to make sure your learners are really understanding what you're teaching.
Hello everyone, my name is Lorenzo, and in this video we're going to look at adjacency pair. What is an adjacency pair? It's a feature of conversation of taking turns, and it consists of two turns pair spoken by two different speakers, and these two turns are close to each other. Adjacent means close to each other, next to each other. And it's important to highlight here that the second part of the pair is connected with the first part of the pair. Let's do an example. What time is it? It's 9 a.m. So what time is it? I'm asking for information. 9 a.m. I'm providing information. And there are many other examples. For instance, giving advice. Carl, I think you should cut down on chocolate. Yeah, I think I should. That's a pair. Or maybe when we are inviting someone, for example, you want to go out for a walk? Yeah, sorry, I gotta study. That's a pair. Or maybe when we are asking for help, for example, can you help me with this homework? Yeah, sure. Or even the simple, hi, how are you? Not bad, how are you? So that's a pair. So I hope this video has been helpful. Take care.
And that's it for today. JB, Ricky, Anna, Abigail, and Lorenzo, thanks a lot for accepting my invitation and for sharing your knowledge with us. I hope you guys learned a lot from these amazing people, and happy teaching.